For a while before we'd all grown up and moved away, there were 11 of us crammed around my parents' dining room table. Mom and Dad, me, my twin brother Alex, my little sister Katie, and from the house next door, my Aunt Ellie and Uncle Mike and their boys Trevor, Henry, and their foster son, Shane. Anita didn't move in until after I had already moved out, but before my brother Alex had left for the army. I wasn't sure why we always ate at my parents' house, but it had been that way for as long as I could remember. Aunt Ellie usually came over to help my mom, sometimes taking over her entire kitchen while she cooked. But we rarely ate at Uncle Mike and Aunt Ellie's house. Maybe it was because when we were all home, we didn't even fit at Ellie's dining room table, though getting us all in the same place at the same time rarely happened anymore. We were all scattered around the country now. My little sister Katie had moved to San Diego years ago, and eventually married Shane, who was stationed down there with the Marines. Henry was down there too, with his own Marine unit. My brother Alex had joined the Army when we were almost 20 and was stationed in Missouri. Trevor, Annie, and I were the only ones left in Oregon with our parents. We were also the only ones who showed any interest in our family's logging business. "The new site's going fine," Dad mumbled as he shoveled more food into his mouth. "Everything's on schedule."
"Well, that's good,"
Mom said brightly.
"Maybe you guys can take a break when Katie gets here."
My head snapped up, and I saw Annie's do the same. "When's Kate coming up?"
"She said she was going to find tickets for next month. I guess one of the airlines is having a sale or something," Mom answered with a smile.
"She's going to need it with all those munchkins," Trevor said with a chuckle. "Why do you think we never went anywhere when you were kids?" Dad asked Trevor, leaning forward to grab a serving tray.
"Your dad and I realized early that if we wanted to take you kids on vacation, we'd have to rent a passenger van and drive you. Too expensive to fly."
"Remember that time we went to see Mount Rushmore?" I asked Trev, grinning. "Fun trip," Trevor replied, nodding. "Would have been better if Henry didn't puke all over me every 200 miles. Anita snorted, and I couldn't help but laugh. We'd had to drive the entire way with all the windows down. It had stunk so badly.
"Poor Henry," Mom said, smirking. "That boy always got carsick."
"And I always had to sit next to him," Trevor bitched. "Well, I wasn't sitting next to the puker. He's your brother," I said seriously, glancing up from my plate to meet Annie's eyes. She was smiling, but it was small. The kind of smile a person wears when they aren't part of the joke but are trying really hard not to look out of place. My mouth snapped shut.
"Well, at least none of Katie and Shane's kids get motion sickness," Mom said, leaning back into her chair. "There's no way Katie's making that drive again," Annie finally piped in, smiling at my mom. "She said the last time they drove home it took them twice as long as it should have because they had to stop 1,000 times.
"Little bladders," my dad said, making us all chuckle. I glanced at my watch and pushed my plate back. "Thanks for dinner, Mom."
"You're leaving already?"
she asked, raising one eyebrow. "I've got plans tonight, couldn't change them," I replied, standing from my seat and grabbing my plate and glass. "I'll clear the table before I go." My mom grumbled a bit, but sat back and let Trevor and me clear the table around my dad, who was still eating. I always tried to help my mom clean up after dinner, at least when there were so few of us kids there. When Katie or Alex was home, I pretended like I had no idea how to clean up so they'd get stuck with the dishes. They deserved it for getting out of so many family dinners.
"Man, you need to ease up on Annie,"
Trevor murmured while we worked around each other at the sink.
"She's been off lately."
"You kidding?" I looked at him in surprise. "She starts that shit."
"Just take a step back."
"Barking up the wrong tree, Trev," I replied, drying my hands off on a towel. "She can dish it, but she can't take it? Give me a break."
"I'm just saying, ease up a bit. It's getting to the point that you're pissing me off lately."
"You her protector now? Got something going on with Annie?" I asked, turning to look at him. The question was stupid, and I regretted it the moment it popped out of my mouth.
"Would that be a problem?"
"No," I ground out from between my teeth. "Do whatever you want."
"You're such an ass sometimes, Abraham." Trev sighed and shook his head. "I don't have anything going on with Annie, numbnuts, but I'll still kick your ass."